Hello, hello. We are live on YouTube and now we're going to go live on Facebook. Happy New Year, everybody. All right, here we are. Welcome back to the ProSinger Success Collective. I'm Arden Kaywin. And we are talking about something super important today, which is, it's January and I'm coming out the gate with lots of content for you around how to blaze into 2025 really strong in your singing to jumpstart the things that are going to make so much difference for you so that you start seeing results right away and you don't fall into that trap of just continuing to do the same things that you were doing in 2024 that didn't really get you the results that you want so that you get better results sooner this year. So today we are talking about the second thing to do at the start of this new year to jumpstart your singing. And so last week I came on live and we got into the first thing to do, which is all about examining your excuses. Excuses for why you are where you are with your singing career, excuses for why you think you sound the way you sound, because most of the time, guys, your excuses, they create inertia. And the two biggest excuses that we talked about last time were blaming money and blaming the industry for where you are. I don't have enough money to train. The industry is corrupt, like all these things. And while those circumstances may be true, if you continue engaging with them as an excuse, you will not move the needle to where you want to go. So if you missed that training from last week, it's really powerful to help you just leapfrog over a lot of your excuses once you identify what they are so that they don't continue to stop you in 2025 like they probably did in 2024. So I hope last week's live prompted you to think about those things and really annihilate any excuses that have been preventing you from getting where you want to go in your singing and your singing career. And so our mantra for the start of this year, guys, is no more excuses. There is always a way for the committed, always. So I hope you are feeling more empowered to get down to it, to doing the things that you have been putting off in your singing, to doing the things that maybe you haven't been so focused on, or maybe you've been a little scared of, because now you have annihilated the excuses associated and you realize the time is now. When is the time to change? You want to keep putting it off, or you want to move into the future of your voice and you're singing now, right? What's the saying? Why put off till tomorrow what you can do right now? And so in order to make the most of this momentum that you're feeling and to nip in the bud any fear that might be hiding just under the surface, because just like attaching to excuses, like we spoke about last week, unexamined fear is the silent career killer because it also breeds inertia. So in order to be fearless in your pursuit of your passion and your goals as a singer, you must examine the fears that are there before anything else. So you've got to look at them. And it's kind of cool and kind of miraculous how once you do shine that light on them, they lose their power and they vanish and they just stop being a thing. So I liken it to when you're a little kid and you're terrified because you think there's a monster under your bed, and you're really scared. And you've worked up this fear in your mind, this creature that's lying in wait for you under your bed, this monster that's waiting to get you. And as your parents turn off the lights and you start spinning out about this fear, about this terrifying thing that your mind is convincing you is under the bed. Do you remember that from when you were a little kid? Like I had a big window in my room growing up, and there was a floodlight outside on the patio, and it used to cast shadows that would come into my room I grew up in Florida, of the palm tree leaves, but like they were very menacing and very big on my wall, and it looked like it was reflecting something that was moving under my bed. I was absolutely like petrified. I would lie there like not even wanting to breathe. And then of course, my mom would come back into the room to check on me, as she does, right? Like your mama would come in and check on you, and you would tell her that you're scared. And so what does your mom do, right? She would like hold your hand while the two of you would shine a flashlight under your bed so you can see the truth, that there's nothing there. But you had to shed light on it and actually look in order to see that. And so this is an example of how looking at the fear and shedding light on the fear neutralizes it. Because see, here's what I know about most fears. They're not real. They're just a construct of our ego mind that's run away with us, just like the monster under the bed, right? And so my favorite acronym for fear, some of you may have heard this before, is FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Our mind is attaching to one little piece of evidence of something and creating something else entirely out of it that's not real. Right? Like your mind is attaching to this fear. Let's say that, I don't know, like that you're gonna, let's say, invest in something for your singing, like invest in a producer that you really want to work with if you're a recording artist, or maybe invest in training more than you ever have before, right? Like if you wanted to come work with us, and your mind goes into this spin that like, what if it doesn't work out? What if that producer sucks? What if I release the record and nothing happens? What if I invest time and money and I don't get results that I want? All these what ifs, right? It's like all that fear. But the thing is, that's happening in the future. None of that has happened yet, and none of that is happening right now. Your mind is just attaching to that and making meaning out of it and scared and creating a story around some future fear based on some past drama or trauma usually, but none of that is happening in this moment. It is not real right now. You haven't, and also like fear of, for example, what if I botch the high note? Well, you're not singing the high note right now. You're thinking about it and you're scared of it, but it's something that's happening in the future. It's not what's happening right now in this present moment. Okay. And so fears around our voice, around our singing, around our career, in much the same way, they work us in our mind. And here's the thing about fear, guys. It causes heightened stress and heightened effort in the body. And that is deadly for a singer whose body is her instrument. And so if you leave it unexamined, your fears, they will resurface again and again as worry, as stress, and as tension in your body. And that is the deadliest part for singers because your body is your instrument. And the physical reactions to fear in the body have a direct cost to your sound because they affect you in one of two ways. And it's the same, by the way, for all humans, whether you're a singer or not. When faced with fear, we will either fight or flee, right? You know this, fight or flight, right? That is our fear reaction as humans since the beginning of time. If our fear reaction is to fight, then we will push our voice, manipulate, force, control in areas where we don't trust our instrument or our technique. We will push and fight. Or if our tendency is to flee, the fear will cause us to pull back from our technique, pull back from difficult notes, pull back from those phrases that most need our own support and technique. And either one of these reactions, to fight or to flee, has that reaction in your body, which actually creates the bad sound that you were scared of making in the first place. And it becomes a negative feedback loop. And so the same thing happens when it comes to fear around moves that you might want to make in your singing career or for your training. We don't like being scared about the future. We don't like that we don't get to know what's going to happen. We don't like worrying because we're not happy about where our singing career is or isn't right now. And it sucks to be in that frustrated state and that fearful state of, how is this ever going to work? And so if we fight, it looks like jumping into action, just willy-nilly, plowing ahead with something, anything, so that we feel like we're going somewhere, even though it's not really the inspired action that we need to be taking that would move the needle the fastest or the best, like we were talking about last week in the live. And then we burn ourselves out and we waste a ton of time and energy and money without seeing results. Or if our fear reaction is to flee, what that looks like is distracting ourselves with our coping mechanisms, endless scrolling on social media, gaming, shopping, could be distracting ourselves with food or sex or relationships, whatever it may be, or even turning to more destructive behavior like engaging with alcohol and drugs. So unexamined fear, you guys, it takes you down a giant rabbit hole. And that's why I say it is the silent career killer. It will stop you every single time. And for many of you, it has been stopping you. And so I say this not to scare you, but to inspire you to begin to shine a light on your own thinking so that this year, 2025, can be the year that you really bloom and shine as a singer and as a performer in all the ways that you've been wanting to. So, in my opinion, singing with impact really boils down to one thing, but it will bring you everything. And that's your ability to be fearless. Fearless. And when it comes down to it, that's probably the only thing preventing you from singing at the level that you want and having the career and the life you want from it. It's just fear. It affects your technique. It affects your resourcefulness to get the training you need. It affects your motivation. It affects you putting yourself out there. And it affects you being able to believe in yourself to do all of those things. It affects so very much. And so after we wrap up this live today, I want you all to take the first step, which is shine the light on your fears. Air them out. Metaphorically, get on your knees, take the flashlight and look under the bed. Shine the light on the monster. Shine the light on the fears. And it might be scary. It might feel confronting. You know, I remember being a little kid and being like super scared. And then the minute we like lifted up and it was like, oh, okay, now that's this, I don't see a monster. You know what I'm saying? And so this is how you're going to do that. You're going to make a list. You can take out your journal, carve out some me time, and you're going to make a list of your biggest fears with respect to your singing and your singing career. And then you're going to post them. Yes, you're going to post them right here in the group. I am asking you to get vulnerable and get real and put this out there. This is how you start to shift the fears. You take their power away because you stop hiding them and hiding from them. And so after you've listed your fears, your biggest fears, you're going to ask yourself about each one. Is this real? Meaning, is this happening right now in this moment? And 99% of the time, guys, the answer will be no. Most of the time, the fear is about something in the future, related either to not getting what you want or losing what you have, meaning failure. Most of the time, that's what it is. Fear of losing what you have, not getting what you want, and failing. And you know that high note that you're having trouble with, right? That we were like using as an example. Trust me, the high note you're having trouble with is related to one of the fears on your list, and it is causing a physical reaction, making that note more difficult, sound bad, and not feel good. Everything you struggle with in your technique, guys, is somehow related to and exacerbated by a fear that will be on your list. So shine the light on it. Get present to it. Bring it into your awareness. This is the first step to shifting fear. I do this with every single one of the singers who are in our intensive training program. They spend a whole week. They do an entire module on fear. Okay. This is the first step to shifting your fear. You cannot change things you are not aware of. And so once the singers in our intensive program who are doing this work that I'm inviting you to do, once they have shed the light on the fears and understand what the big ones for them are, then I teach them how to be present in the middle of their fear and how to release their learned fears little by little and how to trust that their practice and their technique will free them more and more over time. Because releasing the past and coming back to focusing on the present moment, when we do that, we learn to trust that we are held both by ourselves and our new technique. Begin to create the sounds that our body is naturally, fearlessly inclined towards producing. And now, that obviously takes deeper, more involved guided work over time. But that's exactly why singers come to do the intensive training program. They want deeper guided work. They want me and experts mirroring back to them right there in the moment of singing what fear is showing up, which one that's making that phrase or note more difficult and why. Because it's not that they don't intellectually understand the technique that we're asking them to do, but in that moment, their mind is overriding and sabotaging any of that technique by attaching to a fear that is so great that it just sabotages anything else that their body would otherwise know how to do. But guys, it's really hard to see your own patterns, especially in the moment of singing and performing. That's why the intensive is so transformative, though. It's the value of having that expert guide that's essential. It makes the process of discovery so much more efficient, and so that it doesn't take years and years and years to discover, if ever. But right now, I want you to take that first step and start by making the list of your biggest fears around your voice and your singing. Shine the light on them, air them out, post them here for claiming the things that you are no longer going to let get in your way. This is the safe space, guys, where you can get real. I guarantee you that you'll see you're not the only ones with these fears. And then you're going to go down the list and you're going to ask yourself, is this really real? Is this happening right now in this moment? Or am I in my mind spinning and future tripping? And if you look at your list and you're thinking, wow, this is overwhelming. Like, how do I get rid of all of this? If you'd like the support of an expert guide to show you how this is all showing up in your singing, if you want a step-by-step strategy to start undoing it all, then you have to come to our Masterclass series. It's the ProSinger Career Accelerator Masterclass series. We're starting next Tuesday. So Monday is Martin Luther King Day. Next Tuesday, the 21st of January, we're all about master the craft, conquer the industry. This is a live 7-day online free masterclass series for ProSingers on how to break through to land your next elite singing opportunity, how to break through the boundaries and the things that have been going on in your voice, the things that happen when you perform, when you record, that are stopping you from getting to that elite level where you want to be. So January 21st through 27th, 90 minutes a day. We're going to be on Zoom from 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern for 90 minutes each day. We record all the sessions. So if you can't make one of them, it's okay. You can go back and you can watch the recording later that day, but only if you're registered, because that's how you'll get sent all the replays and stuff. So I'm putting in the chat the link to register for the workshop on Facebook and also on YouTube. There we go. Okay, so it's in the chat. Also in YouTube, it's also in the video description. Because I want to make sure that you guys understand that, like, there's a way to do this that really, really works. You don't have to suffer and struggle trying to figure all this out on your own. Guys, if your way was working, you wouldn't be frustrated right now. You would be doing the thing you want to do. You'd be on big stages. You'd be making a full-time living with your singing. And so it's not your fault that you don't know these things. Traditional training ignores all of this, which is why a lot of you, so many of you, have years and years of training under your belt, and you're still not accessing the potential of your voice and the potential of your career in the way that you want. So look, I know that all of you in this group are super invested in getting where you want to go with your singing. You're looking for new and better techniques. You've studied with a lot of teachers. You've done training programs. You practice. But with all of that, your ability to succeed with your technique and your performances really boils down to one very simple thing: going beyond the fear, undoing it, and claiming fearlessness in a way that you have not done before. It's the fear that creates the limiting beliefs. It's the fear that creates the excuses. It's the fear that creates the inertia that's been preventing you from singing the way you know you can all the time. And it's the fear that prevents you from doing the things you need to do to get where you want to go. But when you address this fear in your training, everything changes, guys. Traditional voice lessons do not do this. It doesn't matter how expert or prestigious the teacher is. It doesn't matter how many famous students they've had. It doesn't matter how well regarded the conservatory or the institution or the workshop. They do not teach this. And it is why so many of you have had so many years of training and are still feeling really frustrated that you're not at the level that you want to be with your singing or your singing career. So if you're ready If you're ready to do something that is 100 times more effective, then oh my goodness, do not miss the Masterclass series. Again, January 21st through the 27th, 90 minutes a day, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, every single day from the 21st through the 27th. I will be there. Our mindset coach will be there. Other experts will be there. We're going to be doing a full day deep dive on breath support. We're going to be doing a full deep dive on resonance. We're going to be talking about the rocket fuel that helps you break out and stand above the competition. We're going to be talking about finding your sound, making a song your own. Like, these are the things that when you learn how to go beyond the fear, you can access at completely different levels. So we're going to be doing a ton of mindset work also. So do not miss it. Seriously, do it. Register now. I had put the link in the chat. It's there for you. If you're committed to getting results in 2025, come to the workshop. Okay, guys, I will see you next week for our next live. Bye, everybody.